ESPN welcomes you to the following presentation of the National Football League.
The spotlight's on. Time to stake your claim for Monday Night Football's Hall of Fame.
We've seen the great backs run and the legends throw.
They all turn it up when they play in this show. The Broncos and Raiders. Now there's a fight. When these two meet, it's no silent night.
If you're ready for a party,
Let me hear it if you want to win.
you know it's time to ball.
We about to kick it off.
Then all y'all let the game begin.
Ding for you red. Oh, for you red. Are you ready for some football? A Monday night party. Stay the same.
Let's get it kick-started, yeah.
Get your game face on.
And the crowd's getting psyched.
All my rowdy friends are here on Monday night.
We are ready for the 303rd NFL game played here, the well-worn, history-filled Coliseum. And moments ago, lighting the Al Davis Memorial Torch, Marshawn Lynch, the Raiders running back on injured reserve, but always a homegrown local favorite here from Oakland Tech High School to his days at Cal. Boy, it was soaked here most of the afternoon, and they expect scattered showers and winds at 14 miles an hour and up. Denver has more road wins here than any other team. They've beaten the Raiders 21 times here at the Coliseum through the years. As the question has been put forth, could this be the last Raiders home game at this venue? Raiders won the toss, they deferred. Broncos are going to receive. As Devontae Booker is set to return the Carlson kick. Booker from a yard deep. As he tries to spin his way and wiggle to the 22-yard line. So there is the big story for the Broncos this year. The rookie running back from CU, Philip Lindsay, who's closing in on a 1,000-yard season, and is the first undrafted offensive rookie selected to the Pro Bowl. 9 yards away from a 1,000-yard season for Philip Lindsay.
And think the way he did it. I mean, he started training camp. He was a 6th string. Now he's, averaging over 5 yards a carry. This kid's a baller. I expect him to play well tonight.
Case Keenum under center. As he will try to get to work, made the first man miss, and then is taken down by Melvin.
Well, offensive line, they've been beat up. Really, essentially, they got 4 tackles playing inside and a guard playing center. So injuries haven't been good to them, but last couple weeks, they've had that extra safety come down in the box, loaded box. They have not got the running game going. But tonight, the 2 rookie receivers, Sutton and Hamilton, I want to see how they do it. They have not been really good against press coverage. We'll see if Paul Gunther, defensive coordinator for the Raiders, brings some of that pressure and plays them man-to-man.
And they trade away Demaryius Thomas at receiver, and then Emmanuel Sanders is injured. And here's exactly what Lindsay does. He gives you that first quick burst of speed. Again, Melvin tracks him down after 4 yards. What about that Raiders defense, Boat?
Well, this defense has been much maligned. Pretty much the worst defense in the National Football League the last several weeks. Up front, P.J. Hall is a rookie. John Gruden talked about having young guys to build around. He is one of them. On the second level, Tahir Whitehead, he's their leading tackle. Jason Kabenda, he's a thumper from Penn State. And then on the back end, the guy to pay attention to is Marcus Gilchrist, a safety that's going to come down and play nickel. Watch him. He'll make a lot of plays tonight.
Worley and Conley, starting corners, absent for the Raiders. 3rd and 3 as Booker comes in to play running back. Keenum gets it quickly to the outside, and he goes to the rookie Sutton for 7.
Well, that's exactly it. I mean, they play press coverage, and good to see that Sutton can get open in that. I mean, Case Keenum, they're still evaluating. I believe they're going to use these next 2 games to see what they have in Case. He's played okay at times, but right here, he needed some separation. He needs these receivers, they're young, to show that they can get separation on critical third downs.
I want to continue that conversation a little bit in assessing the Keenum that we've seen this year. You pose the question of, you know, this is the assessment time of the season. Obviously, playoffs not on the line with what happened the last couple weeks. There's a first down run, and coming across that time for a loss of 1 was Arden Key. All right, so the year on Keenum, finishing up his first year as Denver starter after signing that big $36 million contract in free agency coming over from Minnesota. How do you grade him out so far?
Well, he's been pretty inconsistent. I think if you go back to 2017, last year was the aberration where he played well, didn't turn the football over. This year, he's turned the football over a lot, especially early on. He's got to be more consistent.
I agree, Bug. He's got to play at a higher level. You know, 15 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. That's not what you're looking for. People believe you can win with him. I want to see him go to another level.
There's Lindsey behind Janovich. And a flag is down back at the 31-yard line. Carl Sheffers, our crew chief tonight.
Holding. Number 77. Offense. 10-yard penalty. Repeat second down.
That's Billy Turner, who's playing left guard in place of the injured Ron Leary. You mentioned the fact they've really got 4 tackles on this offensive line now occupying this spot, as McGovern, who was the right guard, slides into play center with Paradis injured.
You know, though, when you're talking, though, about Case Keenum, I think it's a bigger picture than just him. I mean, I think it's on John Elway, what they're bringing in here. They traded Demaryius Thomas. Emmanuel Sanders is hurt. The offensive line has been beat up. So you need some more weapons. Outside of Philip Lindsay, he hasn't had a ton of weapons to help him out.
Second and 21, play clock counting down. As Keenum is going to go underneath to Brian Parker, backup tight end, who's in place of Matt LaCosse, and Nicholas Morrow on top of him right away for a loss of 1. So Parker gets the start tonight. As Case Keenum able to find him. You put perspective on Keenum in terms of his career, obviously what we saw last year in Minnesota, but then you think about what you saw earlier in his career, the numbers that you were accustomed to as you look at the Texans and Rams year and that touchdown to interception ratio, and then sort of a regression to the norm now this year with the Broncos compared to all the magic we saw in Minnesota through the postseason last year. 3rd and 22. Checks down underneath to Booker, who can't get free that time of Tahir Whitehead.
That was a nice inside push by number 92 there, P.J. Hall. John Gruden, they like him. He's a young guy, a rookie. He'll flash tonight as a guy they can build around. That's a word you're going to hit a lot of night with the Raiders, build with.
Yeah, I mean, Paul Gunther, he's not used to that. You see him, he was late walking off the field because there hasn't been many 3-and-outs for that defense this year.
Roby Wadman on to punt away. So he drives it deep over the head of Harris. Let's see if they can pin it inside the 10. As good job by the coverage unit. Harris says, I'm going to play this because I can. And look at the return he gets. What a smart move by Harris as he gets free. How about it, Raider Nation?
Wow.
This was Yiadom looking to pin this. And then Harris says, I will gladly take it and go.
That's just a smart play by Dwayne Harris. Understanding what the rules are, that's a live ball. And Denver didn't react and had missed tackles.
Well, and think about this. Even if Harris fumbles that football, once Denver touched it, if he fumbles
first touch and then a subsequent receiver picking the ball up for a touchdown is under review.
Right, so Harris is taking a look at it. Harris is thinking, okay, once Denver touches it, I can pick it up, and even if I fumble, it doesn't matter. We're going to get the ball back.
Quick review, and then we'll come back. Review after we had the wild punt return here by Harris, who picked it up and went 99 yards after Isaac Yiadom was trying to down the ball inside the 1-yard line. Had that first touch. Harris made the smart play, picked it up, and raced down the other end. But they're looking to see, I believe they're looking to see probably if Yiadom made contact with the goal line there.
Yeah, watch the right foot there. It's going to be awful close whether they deem that right foot touching the goal line.
He's trying to keep the ball in play there, but in doing so, he gives Harris the option, and he took it 99 yards.
After review, the ruling on the field stands as called. Touchdown.
So it is a 99-yard punt return touchdown for Harris.
Hey, and listen, I played for Rich Bisaccia, the special teams coach here in Oakland, and I can tell you, he would practice these situations all the time. It essentially becomes a free play. And Dwayne Harris was with us in Dallas. He works it a lot. And good awareness in that moment to pick that ball up and go 99.
$7-0 start. Nice start for what's been such a stormy sea of a season. Been rough waters for the Raiders. Of course, they traded their franchise stars and Khalil Mack and Amari Cooper, and they feel there could be sunnier skies ahead. They got the 5 first-round picks in the next couple drafts, most of any team, and then the 4th most projected cap space this coming offseason, over $70 million. You better get something if you're going to let that talent go. And that's what they have to look forward to this offseason. Yeah,
look, the John Gruden honeymoon is long gone. Look, these fans want answers. When you make decisions like that, you better be right. But I'm telling you, I mean, he has to do it. I think he likes that mentality. I think it motivates him in a lot of ways. And look, it's a rebuild. He's got a 10-year contract. He knows it's going to take time. But, when you trade away those type of players and then they go on to have that type of success, there's a lot of pressure that goes all on you.
Here's the thing about it. The Raiders have all this cap room and all the draft picks. One thing I know, cap room and draft picks don't win games. Good players do. And they traded away a lot of good players. So as you said, the pressure is on him to make sure he gets good players back, because I saw the Cleveland Browns have a lot of draft picks, and it didn't do them a lot of good the last few years.
Yep. They're pretty good this year.
Pretty good this year, but the last several, when they had all those first-round picks, it didn't manifest in the wins.
And I think John Gruden knows that. He knows he needs to do well with his top picks going into this year's draft.
Here's Booker again from the goal line. Better return this time out to the 30. Well, you mentioned the production of Mack and Cooper. Of course, Mack traded prior to the season. He's phenomenal for a team that obviously goes on to win a division with the Bears, 12.5 sacks. And then Cooper, he's been really the spark that's ignited this Cowboys offense. They go on to win the NFC East. He's got 8 games with the Cowboys and 6 touchdowns with them.
And even worse for John Gruden, you trade away Khalil Mack right before the season. He has more sacks than your entire team has. I mean, that's tough to go in that locker room with those guys and tell them and say, hey, we need pass rushers. Because everybody says, well, we had one, coach.
They had a great one.
Play action. Keenum downfield, wanting it all, and coming up empty. And what a shot that Tim Patrick took from Carl Joseph as a flag reins in at the end of that.
Carl Joseph comes in. See how Tim Patrick waits on the ball? You have to go up and catch it. Carl Joseph. Leads with the helmet.
Also had that forearm going right into the neck and head area.
Personal foul, number 42, defense, for an illegal hit on a defenseless player. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
He's got to just put the shoulder in there. He can't go with the helmet like that. And, Patrick's got to understand, when those deep balls are like that and you know they're going to be contested, don't wait on the ball. Go up and extend. Use those long arms. At the high point is where you want to catch it.
Here's what I like about that. Defensive coordinator Paul Gunther is challenging the Denver Bronco wide receiver. He's saying, you know what? If Emmanuel Sanders is going to be hurt, you're going to trade away Demaryius Thomas. I'm going to see if these other guys can step up, play them one-on-one there. Didn't make the play, but they challenged him on the outside. Like that by Paul Gunther.
It's a new wrinkle they have where They go both the rookie running backs with Freeman and Lindsey. Lindsey going back on the fly sweeps.
And now he comes jet motion here, and they go with Freeman as he tried to make his way out to the 49-yard line. It was pushed back by Marcus Gilchrist. Freeman's the rookie out of Oregon, who actually was the higher draft pick. He was the third rounder, right? And he came out with all the stats coming out of Oregon. He was second in career rushing yards in Pac-12 history behind USC's Charles White.
And he's shown some signs that he can be a good back. You know, it's just Lindsey's so explosive. When you turn on the tape and when I study him, it's just he moves at a different speed. Power to get in there between the tackles and on the perimeter.
2nd and 7. Freeman remains the lone back. Lindsey's still in the game. Just go with orbit motion and give it to Freeman, and he crosses midfield for 3 yards, tackled by Justin Ellis.
You know, one thing on this Denver offense is you have a new coordinator in Bill Musgrave, a new cornerback in Case Keenum, rookie receivers and running backs. So they still are evolving and figuring out what they want. The formula is run the ball and then get the play action game for Case Keenum. That's what they want to do. If they can keep his pass attempts down, and the play action game can be explosive for him.
Especially tonight against this Raider defense. They give up almost 150 yards on the ground. Be smart to run it tonight, especially with the field being a little muddy.
3rd and 4. Keenum throws it beyond Cortland Sutton, who took a shot from Gilchrist.
Well, Sutton tried to go with the little double move, and he's trying to he's got to be quicker out of his cuts. For a big guy, he does have good transition. He was able to get behind him, but Case just led him with a little too much air.
And nice no call there on Gilchrist. He led with the shoulder. That's the way you have to dislodge the ball, especially nowadays with the referees protecting the receivers.
Now, Dwayne Harris, last time he was out there, he tied for the 2nd longest punt return in NFL history. Went for 99 yards. This time may not get a chance as it goes into the end zone, and that means we finally get to see Derek Carr, who in his last 9 games, 12 touchdowns, no interceptions. Does that streak keep going? We got the college football playoff semifinals right here on ESPN. At 4 Eastern, it's going to be Clemson and Notre Dame in the Cotton Bowl Classic, and then dial in for 8 o'clock in the Orange Bowl. You got the Heisman winner, Kyler Murray, going up against Tua Tagovailoa and the defending champs in Alabama. Of course, some news today concerning Alabama. Deontay Brown, starting offensive lineman, will not be with them for that game as Carr, in his first snap, just has to fall on it there. Derek Carr, we mentioned the 299 straight passes without an interception. He says, I know we just have 3 wins, but I'm a better quarterback now than I've been.
Yeah, and then he's done a good job protecting the ball, but he also has 47 sacks.
That's right.
So,
well, he's got a patchworked offensive line. Here's his favorite target of late, Jared Cook. That's his 64th reception on the year.
Yeah, but Derek Carr he hasn't been escaping a lot. You know, I mean, he's smart with the football. He is understanding John Gruden's system. You know, after 5 weeks, he had 7 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. That was not the formula. So he has protected the ball, and he's completed a high percentage. But I haven't seen him kind of create and get off script and make those plays you want from a franchise quarterback.
And it's kind of tough with these 2 rookie tackles. He's depending on them to help him out.
False start, number 88, offense, 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
Well, we mentioned the offensive line with the Raiders. We started the year with a much different group, and there are the rookies now as the bookends.
Yeah, and keep an eye on Miller and Parker, rookies. They got a tough challenge tonight going against these guys. One tight end, Jared Cook, having a career year. I think he's a guy going against this Denver defense who has not played the tight end well all year.
Here's 3rd and 7. There's pressure again, and there's the 48th sack of the year.
You know, we continue to talk about the Raider pass rush. The Denver Broncos don't have that problem. You see a little twist inside. Chubb and Goss just run a little game. Confuse the Raider offensive line. They have to pass that off a little better. Anytime the defensive line twists, you have to communicate and pass it off.
Miller, he just gives up too much ground.
Yeah.
You know, I want to see him be stronger and stouter at the line of scrimmage.
Craycraft misplays that, lets it go past him, and with it, The Johnny Townsend punt rolls all the way to the 21. A 64-yard punt and a touchdown lead for the Raiders. It's a rainy afternoon in the Bay Area. Skies have cleared for now. Had wind gusts upwards of 14, 15 miles an hour, and we had a gust of wind with Dwayne Harris going 99 yards for our lone touchdown, as the Raiders have a 7-0 lead here. As Keenum is able to get it to Janovich, his fullback, who makes a nice move for 11 yards.
Well, the biggest thing on this Raiders defense is they don't get a pass rush, Book. And, you know, he starts with Khalil Mack letting him go, but 12 sacks just hasn't been good enough. So quarterbacks have all day, whether it's play action, drop back, and they can't get off on third down.
And I think the thing that's bothered the Raider fans and everyone is Coach Gruden gets to the podium and says, man, we didn't have any pass rush today. No wonder you traded away Khalil Mack, and the guy that you drafted to be the pass rusher, Arden Key, only has 1 sack in 525 snaps.
He's a rookie out of LSU, number 99, you see at the top of your screen there. Trying to get free this time is Patrick, but he is run down by Melvin. That thing was a mess from the start. It goes for a loss of 7.
But give Key credit there. He stayed at home. Arden Key knew it. He saw the reverse coming to Patrick. He was able to just stay vertical. A lot of defensive ends come down the line. Not Key here. The young player getting upfield, forcing him to have to regroup. He didn't make the play, but he's got to slow down. And that's the thing. If you're going to play these rookies, it's the experience that they're getting, so that you can hope as you rebuild this program, John Gruden, these guys are better because they've got a lot of playing time. That's what you got to hang your hat on.
Yeah.
Here's Lindsey, and Philip Lindsey is going to be a 1,000-yard rusher if this holds up. We'll check on the flag. He goes for 11 there.
But, man, does he hit that hole quick. I mean, it's amazing to see this young guy, how strong he is when he gets the ball.
They've been loading up against him past couple weeks, these defenses. And
Holding, number 92, defense. 5 yards will be added to the end of the play. Automatic first down.
so there he is, 1,000-yard rusher is Philip Lindsey now.
And here's what you're going to see, especially with the field being wet, field being muddy. The double team on the inside, number 92, P.J. Hall is trying to hold in there, but he can't. A wet field, the offensive line has the advantage. This is what I would do if I was the Broncos. I would run the football, keep it simple, and play action and go deep.
See, just the third undrafted rookie free agent to ever go over 1,000 yards. You know, the Broncos have had such success with rookie running backs through their history.
Here comes the play action.
Keenum threw it behind and to the outside of Tim Patrick. We mentioned the success that the Broncos have had. So Lindsey now becomes the 6th rookie in Broncos history with 1,000 rushing yards. You got Bobby Humphrey and TD, Landis Gary, Mike Anderson, Clinton Portis. So 6 rookies through their history with 1,000 rushing yards. That's the highest total of any franchise in NFL history.
Well, that's an incredible stat. I mean, that says a lot about it. But for a lot of those guys, and I'm not taking anything away from them, they played in that Mike Shanahan system, that wide zone. Lindsey's really not in that type of system. And that's making it even more impressive how he's done it.
Made the first man miss there as he goes ahead for a couple more. You know, Lindsey's a local kid. His backstory is really something, especially for those in Denver. As he's from Aurora, just east of Denver. He was part of the Broncos Futures football program. Went on to South High School in Denver, set the record for most all-purpose yards in Colorado history. Went up to Boulder, didn't get the invite to the combine, and then undrafted and now a star with the hometown NFL team. And get this, lives at home with his parents.
I don't know if I'd advise that for a long time.
3rd down and 8. Keenum, shallow little crossing route as Sutton tries to get free and get to that marker.
Well, they're just playing press man-to-man across the board. And, you know, it was a good call to get them running crossing routes. You know, when you watch them the last couple of weeks, they weren't doing that. Sutton's physical. He just pushes off, gets across there. Those are the experiences for him, too, that he can take advantage of. He hadn't played great the last couple of weeks, but he's big physical traits that you say, okay, get the ball in his hands. He can make plays.
Yeah, right now the Broncos stand on the field, 4th and short, end of the season, 6 and 8. Let's line up. Go behind this offensive line and be physical.
You know, it's funny that he's going for it on 4th and 1 because he had it last week. I couldn't believe it. Vance Joseph decided not to go for it.
Much criticized with that. Cost them the game. Here's Lindsey, and Lindsey, flag is down as the play clock was counting down.
Delay of game. Offense. 5-yard penalty. 4th down.
And that's on the quarterback right there. Case Keenum has to see that. You're a veteran quarterback. You had a play that you liked. Now you get the penalty. You're going to be forced to punt. Veteran quarterbacks can't make those mistakes. They just can't.
And that's kind of the story, though, for Vance Joseph. Only in his 2nd year. And talked about he's grown there, but game management hasn't been easy for him. And for all these young coaches, that's a big part of the transition is you got to be able to manage it. He made that decision last week. And then now, and John Elway's looking at it, he's evaluating it. And I think he seems like he's pretty upset that Vance hasn't progressed a little bit more. Great play there by Dwayne Harris.
Touchdown lead for the Raiders. Have gone on to do. Seahawks got the best of them last night, 38-31. As the Chiefs are looking to clinch home field advantage. If they can win this coming week, they will be playing these Raiders. Here's Carr, once again looking to Jared Cook. So the AFC playoff picture, as Texans had that thriller with the Eagles, that now has the Patriots with the win. As it stands right now, Patriots are the #2. Mentioned what's going on with the Chiefs. And the Colts and Titans are going to have something to decide this coming weekend to see who gets in to the tournament. Second and 4. It was looking for the slant that time to the 6'5" Jared Cook.
You know, as you listen to Derek Carr, when he comes to the line of scrimmage, it's going to be a lot of what we call dummy counts. He's going to act as if he's asking for the ball. Red Hut, Red 21 Hut. He's trying to get the defense to declare. You'll see that a lot. That's a John Gruden staple. I saw it when I was in Tampa, and you still see it now in Oakland.
One of the things we're seeing a lot, too, is that Bradley Chubb's dropping in coverage.
Yeah, I don't like that.
But not now. He's rushing on this right here at defensive end, going against Miller.
He's got 12 sacks on the year. Here he comes, rookie against rookie. Tried to back him into Carr, as that is floated downfield for Jordy Nelson, and it goes incomplete. Isaac Yiadom, the rookie out of Boston College, with coverage.
Well, Yiadom played him pretty well there. You know, Jordy does a good job with these plays. We saw him for a long time with Aaron Rodgers make them, but he's looking for the back shoulder. You see how he does? He gets good lean. He slows down a little bit so that he can open his body and his hips can turn. And he and Derek Carr were not on the same page because Derek led him with that throw.
And defensive coordinator Joe Woods is being really aggressive tonight because the Raiders love the quick game.
Second straight 3-and-out for the Raiders as Johnny Townsend gets a choppy punt that is secured at the 37-yard line by Craycraft.
With the fair catch. And the Broncos will take over.
And we got young men from the community of Paradise, California, with us here tonight. We got students and staff from Paradise High School here in attendance. Of course, last month, it all made national news when Paradise was devastated by the Camp Fire that started in their community. It's 3 hours north of Oakland. Destroyed nearly 12,000 homes, claimed numerous lives in the community. As Lindsey is tracked down by Harris.
You know, Bill Musgrave's done it a couple times now where he's put him on the jet sweeps and the motions. And I think just lining him back up in the eye, that's what he does best. Don't try to trick him here. If you're evaluating, you're out of the playoffs, I'd line him up in the eye where he does most of his work.
You know, when you bring him side to side, you limit him because now he's running horizontally. Put him in the eye or in the backfield. Now he can use his speed and his quick feet to find a hole.
You see across the board, it's man-to-man. They're going to bring an extra guy in the box and challenge these guys on the outside.
Play action, got him. 2nd and 9. Does he? Sutton, the effort downfield.
And that's exactly what you have to do when you get man-to-man coverage on the outside.
47 yards to Cortland Sutton.
Watch Sutton, though. He just keeps him stacked and keeps the guy behind him. They're trying to get it off. He must have thought he maybe didn't catch it.
Yeah. Well, he curled his body around the ball and then's waving the offense downfield like, let's get this thing snapped.
Oakland is challenging the ruling on the field of a completed pass. We'll review the play.
Well, John Gruden says, guys, I think you should take a peek at that thing. And that's exactly what they'll do as we take a break.
Here we come.
Papa loves mambo. Mama loves
Mrs. Maisel's going to be a household name.
Look at him sway with it, getting so gay with it, shouting ole with it. Wow.
Exciting, right?
Papa loves the mambo tonight.
Yeah. Thank you and good night.
But you didn't expect me to run the kickoff back. I'm the real Madden legend. I get invited to the sickest parties like DeAndre Hopkins, and he'd be like, hey, David, and I'd be like, it's actually Darren.
You need to work on your fantasies.
Rated E for everyone.
I want to get a bar put in over there. Do you know any good contractors? Yeah, I might. Nice. Give me a bunch of quotes, check the reviews, and verify the credentials and qualifications.
You can't expect your neighbors to do everything HomeAdvisor can. So just ask HomeAdvisor.
Pretty clear to see here, wasn't it?
After review, the ball hit the ground. It is incomplete. It'll be third down at the previous spot. Please set the game clock to 1:35. Oakland will be not charged with a timeout.
Well, Sutton got over top of him. He just got to track it. Nelson gets his hand in, maybe a little face mask. But yeah, that thing came out.
You know, somebody's got to tell Sutton, hey, man, don't tell on yourself. Like, get up and act like you caught it.
You know, though, Nick Nelson was on him there. He's a rookie, played a lot in the slot. So if I was Denver, I'd go right back at him again. I'd attack him because he's not used to it. Sutton did a good job getting past him. Take another shot. Press man-to-man on the outside. You're going to have a chance at it.
Case Keenum's checking. The Raiders better get some pass rush.
Third down and 9. As they go with Booker. Booker weaving his way as he's trying to get to that line to make, and he's going to be a yard short as he goes for 8.
Well, he just runs a little bit of a delayed draw. He's going to come in behind here, and then he starts weaving in it. And the reason why they do that is Arden Key had a free shot inside. And I think he thought it was going to be a pass. 3rd and 9. He's like, I'm going to get one of those sacks. And but now you got 4th and 1 again. Vance Joseph decides to go for it. I like his aggressive mentality.
I think Vance Joseph has heard enough of the criticism about the call from last week.
Yeah, didn't go for a 4th and 1 with 4.5 minutes to play, and the Broncos trailing 17-13. Kicked the field goal, and they lost 17-16 to Cleveland. So they run the option here. It's disrupted, but then back into the hands of Lindsey. What a fortunate bounce.
Well, I don't think anybody thought Case Keenum was going to keep it on the option, but he got a lucky bounce. Philip Lindsay did, right off his hands. Oh, he tipped it.
Morrow got a piece of it, but then right back into the hands of Lindsey.
Yeah, I'm not going to allow the result to change my mind. I don't like the play call. It's a rainy night. The field has been wet. Turn around, hand the football off to Lindsey, and allow that offensive line to come off the ball.
Over the last 5 years, the NFL average on 4th and 1 is 66% success, and they get a fresh set of downs with that. Keenum, he's going to tuck and dive ahead.
That's what Case does well, though. He can get in the play action, get him outside. He's going to stretch it down the field, and if it's not there, he can use his legs.
The second longest punt return in NFL history is the lone touchdown we have so far tonight. 7-7, the NFL's all-time leading passer, and he was pretty great last night late against the Steelers in a thriller that clinched home field and #1 in the NFC for the Saints.
I tell you what, Joe, it's going to be hard for anybody, Bug, to go down and win this thing through New Orleans.
And that's because of that defense. That defense plays better at home. The pass rush to corners, where they've been weak this year in the secondary.
Second and 8, start the second quarter. Keenum is taken down. That was Carl Joseph getting to Keenum Clinton McDonald was coming in with pressure as well.
I like what Paul Guenther is doing tonight. To be able to challenge this Denver Bronco offensive line, he's bringing extra guys and forcing the offensive line to decipher who's coming, blitzing Case Keenum, making a quarterback that's been indecisive all throughout the season, make quick decisions, and so far, Keenum hasn't done that.
But his line's just got to protect better. They're not giving him a chance. He's not even on his 5th step in his drop. The guys are in his face.
And now a 3rd and 10.
He's showing the double-A gap. You got 2 linebackers walked up in the A gap. That's a staple of Paul Guenther.
That's Whitehead and Morrow. Let's see if they both send. Play clock was coming down. Straight up the middle. Joseph in his face as it's going to be short to Deshaun Hamilton, only for 2 yards. Carl Joseph knifing in against Keenum.
And Devontae Booker was going to come on the protection. He's got to pick that up. They got him blitz, and then right here, he's got to pick Joseph up. He can't allow him to run free. Instead, he goes across the chip block. Take care of yours. And that's what he has to do in that moment.
And that's the answer for the Raiders. Yes, they don't have individual guys that can rush the passer, so they have to blitz. Nice adjustment there by Paul Guenther.
Keep an eye on Dwayne Harris. We've seen him now not fair catching it and hitting those guys as these gunners go and keeping them from getting touchbacks and allowing them to keep it in the bounds.
This time a fair catch at the 10.
Yeah, Dwayne Harris has done it all night. I mean, we saw it. It was a free play. He has a smart football player as a veteran. He sees it. 99-yard return.
How about next-gen stats on that, guys? And you mentioned the touchbacks.
And then his ability to hit him there so that he can't down it, forcing a touchback. It's smart. It's a 19-yard change in possession because he's done it. He's done it on 2 different times now. Because if you fair catch it, you can't go in there and hit. He does it, and he just knocks him away from going to make the stop at the 1-yard line, 2-yard line.
That 99-yard run here as Martin goes ahead. We're seeing the punt return. Next-gen stats with had him for 157.5 yards traveled as the longest distance covered by a ball carrier in the last 3 seasons in the NFL.
Yeah, Dwayne probably was over there getting some oxygen. I played with him in Dallas. And, he'd come in the game as a blocker. So everybody knew it was a run play when Dwayne came in, but he's a physical player, and he is a fantastic punt returner, and it's plays like that. Just to make those decisions and not fair catch it, smart football.
Carr, as he's able to get it complete. He's connecting with Jordy Nelson there.
This is one of the things Jordy does a good job, running routes. You saw him and Aaron Rodgers do it for a long time, sending the tight end back to try to get Von Miller. Fell down, but it didn't matter. Those quick play actions, that's what John Gruden needs more of in his offense. He's trying to add it the last few weeks, so it's not just check down.
Martin's going to go to the top of your screen, so they'll be empty here on 1st down with Carr. Turned to us yesterday.
Yeah.
He said, I didn't realize this was going to be a rebuild this year. He came into the season thinking, hey, we can win. We can win now. As he goes over the middle to his reliable tight end, big Jared Cook. See what happens with the flag here at the 33. Cook's been so productive this season, hasn't he?
Pass interference, number 51, defense. Spotted the foul, automatic, 1st down.
Well, they're running quick game, and Jared Cook's just got a little 6-yard stick route. He comes back in, he goes back across, and Davis just grabs a hold of him. Cook he's going to fake out and then go back in, and Davis just wraps him up, giving him a nice big hug. Can't do it. Jared Cook is coming into his own. He's played for a lot of different teams. He's had success, but he still runs, and he's got great radius to go get the football.
Sure does. 6'5", 254. Doug Martin, nothing there at all against that Broncos front. Cook, 6 touchdowns this season, right? 14 games. That's as many as he had in 58 games over a 3-season span.
John Gruden has always loved the tight end. Down in Tampa, he loved it, and loved it here in Oakland.
Here's Carr on 2nd and 10. Flag is down as it's beyond Seth Roberts, who couldn't get to it.
Number 10, Seth Roberts.
"12 players on the field for the defense. 5-yard penalty. Repeat second down."
You know, and we talk about the tight end a lot. Gruden is going to play 2 tight ends, 3 tight ends. They even have a package tonight where they're going to play 4 tight ends. And you do that against a defense. Most defensive coordinators don't like to blitz 2, 3, and 4 tight end sets. That's one personnel you can get in where you can dictate what defense you're going to get.
How much did he smile when he said, "I'd love to just be able to say 14 personnel"? He wants 4 tight ends out there, he says.
Jared Cook, he's still tough for me to see. We saw him in the production meeting. All I could think about is playoffs. A couple years back, he makes his catch on the sidelines and defeat us down there in Dallas.
2nd and 5 as he goes to Richard, and Richard quick to get to that corner that time. He's able to get past Josie Jewell for 14.
And that's a big part of their offense. We talked about Cook. The other part of it is Richard. He's done a good job as a receiver out of the backfield, isolating him one-on-one. He comes in there, he gets it on the linebacker, and it's just a choice route. He can break in, he can break out. It's all about leverage. That's the passing game for John Gruden at its finest.
And here's the thing I'll tell you. If you're Josie Jewell, you got no chance of covering Jalen Richard tonight. If I'm Gruden, I come back to that matchup, store that one away, and come back to it.
Here is Waller. Waller is a tight end who Gruden is very high on. Was a big wide receiver at Georgia Tech. Had some drug and alcohol issues, cleaned himself up, a little bit of redemption in his life, but he has great speed. Saw it last week, had a 21-yard jet motion run, had a long catch down the near side. Got some athleticism to him.
Yeah, he came in, he's been a nice addition. I think John Gruden likes him, but you know, one of the things that just happened there, that was the run pass option. It was the first time we've seen that. And when I studied John Gruden's tape, you didn't really see a lot of that. I was wondering how he would have evolved after being out of the game for 9 years, and that's the biggest wrinkle that we're seeing.
180. Is it?
Richard on 2nd and 4 as he is met and taken down that time by Shaq Barrett.
Because that's what they do best is they run the ball out of the gun formation. So they're all going to run this way, and then he's going to send these guys on routes. So he's just reading it. It's a 6-man box. Sees the leverage. Carr just pulls it. You know, think about it. I mean, John Gruden grew up in the West Coast system. Mike Holmgren, Andy Reid. And so just like we're seeing in Kansas City, Andy Reid's like really reinvented himself. John's finally starting to add a wrinkle or two because he didn't do that 9 years ago when he was coaching.
3rd down and 2. Here's Martin out of the backfield, and they will have a first down with Doug Martin.
And that's a staple of the John Gruden offense there. Nice little trip from formation there, like a little bunch. Now you have the back come out of the backfield like a little pick rub right there. You create confusion for the defense. Anytime you get in a tight bunch, they can't press. Send the back out, natural pick. Nice play call there, 3rd and short.
And those sprint outs are important because it doesn't allow those defensive ends, Von Miller and Chubb. It slows them down because you're sending the whole line towards them.
8th play of the drive here. Nice Carr and the Raiders piecing this thing together.
He's got Waller.
Going to check down underneath instead to Richard, who goes for 5. Now Waller's out there because they're taking a look at Jared Cook. See the medical staff trying to evaluate Cook. I thought he'd be a Pro Bowler. Kelsey and Ebron got the nods in the AFC. And he has been the centerpiece of the passing game since Cooper was traded away. Marshawn Lynch, non-injured reserve.
And that's what you're looking for Derek Carr, just to take a shot there. You know, he had an opportunity with Waller, and I think in his mind he's saying, because his protection hasn't been good, I got to get it out of my hands, and he's taking the check down. Take some shots there.
2nd and 4. Martin, nobody was there on the right side as he easily makes his way in.
Well, here's what happened. They were playing man-to-man. We've been talking about they want to do it. So when he goes down to block, Brock runs with him, and they're able to collapse it on the edge because they don't know if it's a route or it's a running play. and it's able to collapse the edge because Brock's in man coverage. He's got to run with Roberts there. Good play call by John Gruden.
24-yard touchdown run for Doug Martin. Well, if it's the last game ever here, they're giving the fans something to enjoy. 14-zip. Vance Joseph. His team trails by 2 touchdowns now.
Well, on the last series, he had a 2nd and 10. And you see Davis coming off the sideline. He's kind of walking right in front of the coach. He's the 12th guy, and he doesn't get off the field. That was an incomplete pass. They were going to force them to be 3rd and 10. Just walking. That's not the effort, Vance Joseph. They had to delay a game on 4th and 1. Look, he's 11 and 19 as a coach. And the thing you look for is, do they play hard for the head coach? That's the #1 thing general managers and owners should look for. Do they respond? Or is his message getting across? And for Vance Joseph, that's just unacceptable that his players are playing that way.
You know, and I think the score is indicative also. It's 14-0, and I think we would all agree, in my opinion, that the Broncos are a more talented team than the Raiders. And for your team to come out and so far put up this type of effort doesn't lend well to a coach that's on the hot seat in Vance Joseph.
There's John Elway running this franchise. GM and president there. Denver started 2-0 last season, finished 5-11. Won their first 2 games again this year. Came in 6-8. Flag comes in at the end of the 18-yard return by Booker.
During the return, holding, return team, 10-yard penalty, 1st down.
Elway made the comment earlier this year. He said, hey, the criticism surrounding the franchise actually energizes me. Says, in my mind, I'm probably as motivated as I've been since I took the job.
Well, and the criticism doesn't just stop and start with Vance Joseph. It goes to John Elway also, because the quarterback position hasn't been solved. I got news for you. Peyton Manning is not walking through that door anymore. And John Elway is going to have to figure out, Case Keenum has been subpar this year. Who's going to be your quarterback, not only, but your head coach going forward?
As Lindsey spins free for a little something extra.
You know, that Super Bowl seems like a long time ago for the Denver Broncos. And it shows you how quickly the window can close for you. And I do think Elway is motivated by this. I think he's evaluating it. You know, Vance Joseph was a finalist for that job prior to Gary Kubiak getting it. And he really liked him. And his defense hasn't been bad, Vance Joseph. But I think the game management, and Elway is, you know, he's a competitor. He wants to win. And when they have these type of mistakes, 12 men on the field, delay of games, that doesn't set well with Elway.
2nd and 4, Lindsey, as he's able to get to the outside and pick up the 1st down.
You know, and I think the biggest surprise with Elway is that he hasn't been able to hit on the quarterback. You would think a Hall of Fame quarterback who's now a GM could hit on the quarterback position, and so far he hasn't done that.
And we said it about Lindsey in the open. Look, it shows to you that when you're evaluating these guys, it's an art. It's not a science, even for one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play. But there's no excuses. You got to be able to hit on that position. It's the most important one. And even after this season, they still really don't know what they have in Case Keenum.
Look Lindsey's way. Then he goes to a wide open Deshaun Hamilton, who's one of the fine-looking rookies that Elway was able to get his hands on this year. Of course, Peyton Manning left the Broncos after Super Bowl 50, and then the struggles to find a new quarterback. We've gone through the list since then. Include Trevor Siemian. And then they had the miss on Paxton Lynch.
Big miss.
Brock Osweiler. And then you go out in free agency after Case Keenum has the Minneapolis Miracle, and you buy in for 2 years and $36 million on Keenum. First down throw by Keenum as he just hooks it up that time to Cortland Sutton.
And here's the deal on Case Keenum. The one-liner is, you can win with Case Keenum, but you better surround him with some good football players that can be playmakers. They have that in Lindsey. Now they have to shore up that offensive line, and then on the outside, they have to get some of these guys to step up. You know, Sutton has some potential, and they drafted Hamilton, but they're going to have to get Emmanuel Sanders, some of that rolling, you know, to give him the playmakers to make plays.
Here's a loaded backfield on 2nd and 4. As they go with Royce Freeman. Not much there for Freeman, just a yard.
You know, we talk about winning with Case Keenum. He had a career year last year.
Right.
Minnesota said they couldn't win with him. They moved on and got Kirk Cousins. Now he's here in Denver. They paid him to be the guy. They paid him to be the man. And this year, when he had that title of being the man, he didn't perform well. So I don't know. I think the jury is still out whether or not you can win and win big with Keenum.
Oh, I agree. I agree. Cut by the Texans, waived by the Rams, couple of practice squads, traded for a 7th rounder, benched for Jared Goff, wasn't wanted anymore by the Rams, and then the miracle year with the Vikings, and now this. 3rd and 3. As he backs up with pressure coming in on him, and then he will just throw it away. But that was Kyle Wilbur who was tracking Case Keenum. Not much offense to be had with Denver tonight.
But you can't expect Case Keenum just to come in here and just put the team on his back. He's not in that tier with Aaron Rodgers and Drew Brees and those type of quarterbacks. And, you know, the market dictated the money, but that's not going to change the performance of the player.
There's a directional kick that travels into the end zone. 54-yard punt. Under 4.5 to play till halftime here on Christmas Eve from the Bay Area. It's brought to you by Burger King. Try the $6 King Box, including 1 classic entree, fries, a drink, 2 cookies only at BK. Some of the greats in Raiders history. Litkoff, Upshawn Shell, Tim Brown, and Art Charles Woodson, and of course, the late Al Davis, the patriarch of the Raiders. Doug Martin goes ahead, and there's another Raiders great who is on our mind, a very dear friend to all of us as the flag is down here. But we received incredible news of a Christmas gift with our dear friend Matt Millen, the former All-Pro linebacker and NFL executive, and guy who was my broadcast partner for many years up in the booth, but a successful heart transplant overnight. Had the chance to talk to his beautiful daughter, Mary Ann, who is so grateful for everybody's prayers and love and thanks. And get well soon, Matt. Here's Martin after they backed up on 1st and 20. You know, guys, I remember we were here in the preseason, and one of the first times we were together as a new broadcast crew, and we walked out into this field before they're getting ready to play the Packers, and there's Big Matt, one of the most loving guys in the world, right? And comes over and hugs us up and came right to the two of you and wanted to have a nice talk about this experience for you and what it meant, and kind of gave you a coaching moment, didn't he?
It was an incredible experience for me as a broadcaster. I mean, Matt Millen's coming in here, and he's just giving us, first off, he gave us all the secrets on you, Tess. You know, tell Tess this, you know. But he's a football guy, man. That's exactly what he is, and so well respected. Not only as a player, not only as a broadcaster, as a general manager, but he was an ambassador for the game of football. He played the game the right way. He had a passion for the game of football in the NFL.
And now the gift of life, as Matt Millen with a successful heart transplant on Christmas Eve.
Praying for you, Matt. Get well, buddy. You know, we hadn't heard a lot tonight from Von Miller and Chubb, and I have to think it has a lot to do with the footing out here. It's tough for pass rushers to turn the corner when the footing is wet.
Here's 3rd and 10. As Carr drives it to Jordy Nelson for a 1st down. Jordy Nelson, the longtime Packer star, wrapping up year number 1 here in Oakland, goes for 16 yards there on 3rd and 10.
Well, all veteran players have to understand the zone coverage, and you see him just hook up. He throttles in there knowing that he's going against Brock. He just finds that area so that he doesn't just keep running. You can't run blind. You know, like the PowerPoint says, hey, it's a 15-yard in cut. Well, you know what? Sometimes you got to throttle in there, and that's the chemistry you're seeing with these two.
We good, Ron? Yep. All right, here we go. Silver, hold on.
Another dummy count, just seeing what the defense is doing.
As we hit the 2-minute warning, Derek Carr has hit on his last 7 passes, and it's a 2-touchdown margin for the home team. Coach Tom Flores, 3-time Super Bowl champ. Jim Plunkett sitting here on a night that could be the Raiders' final home game at the Oakland Alameda County Coliseum.
The Raiders need to be aggressive here. You know, don't just pull off because you're up 14. Take a shot down the field.
Carr gets it on that in-cut, the slant to Nelson that time as he goes for 14 yards. He has found his groove here in the second quarter.
Well, it's just a slant route, but Derek Carr doing a good job throwing him open. He sees the hole. He's accurate. He can throw the ball. We were at practice. That's a beautiful arm he's got when he throws it on time. That's it. The rhythm throws.
Here's Martin crossing midfield, catches a good seam, and another first down inside the 40 for 11 yards.
That's a staple of the Gruden offense. They call it nickel 40. Just a simple delayed draw there, handing off to Martin in a 2-minute drill. You want to get positive yards, especially once you cross the 50-yard line. Old nickel 40 there from Gruden.
Well, nickel 40's got them in position here. Under 1:10 in his first half. That was batted at the line of scrimmage by Gotsis. Had a sack earlier and now gets his hand on that.
But that's what John wants to get back to with his offensive line. We saw him get on the double team and really move those defensive linemen. Take them to the second level. Too many times this year when we watch the offensive line, it's been one of the better offensive lines in football. They're not getting movement. So it's all one-on-one blocks. That time they were able to kind of take the 3 technique all the way back to the linebacker.
Second and 10 now for Carr. Here comes pressure, and he finds Roberts. And Roberts able to drive through Justin Simmons and move the chains for 11 more.
You know, that was nice by Carr there. You had pressure coming. You had Von Miller on the left side, the spin move, and then Chubb is coming from the backside against Colton Miller. Nice job there by Carr, feeling the pressure. He didn't see him, but he felt him, moving out, making the throw.
He was trying to get Richard, but instead it was Von Miller knocking that away.
You know, that's one of the things that Coach Gruden talked to us about is, can Derek Carr make some off-script plays?
Right.
Yeah, I know you can drop back in the pocket and throw it and spin it, nice, pretty arm. But when the play breaks down, can you make an off-script play? He wants to see more of that from Derek Carr.
Well, you look around the league, you're seeing more and more of that from all the successful quarterbacks, aren't you?
How about Pat Mahomes last night? And Russell Wilson.
What a fun game that was. Back and forth they went. And there are the Seahawks now, sitting there with 9 wins. And they have a date in the playoffs with the Cowboys. That would be an intriguing one, wouldn't it? Well, can Oakland add to it? They're on the go with 36 seconds before half.
You can't beat it.
Okay. You left Okomo, You Faithful by Sinatra out. God Rest You Merry Gentlemen by Bare Naked Ladies. Come on, let's fix that quickly.
Speaking of Christmas, Denver Broncos are focused on it because they've no-showed here.
Yeah. And this could be another gift to be had by Carr and the Raiders. Can they get something before we go to Susie and Lou? Remember, the 2 timeouts remain as Roberts secures it after 3.
For the 25-yard line, he gains 3 on that pass play. 3rd and 7.
And they will utilize and leave 1 of those timeouts with 28 seconds remaining. It's a fun weekend in the NFL that leaves us with the playoff pictures that right now would have Kansas City and New England, the top 2 seeds in the AFC, and then the Saints and the Rams, the top 2 seeds in the NFC. But so much still to be determined, like what happens in the AFC between the Colts and the Titans set to play. And can Philadelphia get a little help, or will it be Minnesota?
See that guy there? You think he's going to have Cole under his tree?
You know, guys, you're speaking of the playoffs. The biggest thing that jumped out was last night watching the Kansas City Chiefs and their defense. How vulnerable is that defense, and is that going to be their Achilles heel?
We'll talk about that as the night goes on. Size up the Chiefs. And stopping the run's been an issue with them for much of the year. And the first time out will be used by Denver. What do you make of it? I mean, you need some critical stops. You get to games like this. Of course, you get to the playoffs. You got to play defense. What do you make of the Chiefs?
Well, I mean, defensively, they're playing a lot of man coverage. And I just don't think that their guys are able to play that way. They do have a good rush. And that's D Ford's coming into his own. I mean, obviously, you see Houston, a lot of different pass rush for them. But on the back end, they've got to be able to play better coverage because you saw what Russell Wilson did there.
You know, Chris Jones up front, talk about a guy who has come on and dominated. I think he had another sack and a half, 15.5 sacks as a defensive tackle. He didn't get to the Pro Bowl. Shame on you. Shame on you.
But the Kansas City, they're going to play to their offense. And they're fully capable of winning games 50-49 if they have to.
Yeah, agreed.
28 seconds, 3rd and 7 for Carr and the Raiders. It's going to go to the end zone. And it's going to be far beyond Seth Roberts, who is being tracked by Tremaine Brock.
And you saw them coming across with the running back, Richard. He's going to set the chip on Von Miller because he was going to collapse on the pocket, and maybe he would have got Carr on that one. But coming across to help this tight end so that he's not one-on-one. Most of the time with the chips, it's on the same side as the guy he's going to help. There, they're going across the ball so that Von Miller doesn't get the tip.
So it'll be a 43-yard attempt from Carlson. Remember, the 5th-round pick of the Vikings. Then they cut him after that game when he missed the 3 field goals against the Packers. But he has found success here in Oakland. And not the prettiest rotation, but gets the result that they wanted to go up 17-0. A guy who fixed his game mid-season, went to the kicking guru Jamie Cole, said, hey, got to get closer on those approach steps. And he has found success here with Coach Gruden.
You know, guys, I want to go back to that last play. Derek Carr, it was quarters coverage. Derek Carr threw the ball almost out of the end zone. And he's got to be able to hit that throw there. That's a play there. If you have the right touch and the right accuracy, that's a touchdown. Receiver made a nice move. Those are the plays that this Raiders team have to hit.
Well, let's go back to the playoff picture here, and we'll size up the AFC. We told you if it was to go today, you'd have the Chiefs at the 1 and the Patriots at the 2. Chiefs will need a win against Oakland to get that. A lot to be decided in terms of the Titans and the Colts, and then the Steelers would need some help here, believe it or not. And then the NFC, with New Orleans having clinched #1. Vikings can clinch the playoff berth with a win or an Eagles loss. And the Bears can clinch a first-round bye with a win. They're at Minnesota.
You know, I'm looking at that Eagles and Vikings situation there. Vikings versus Chicago, Eagles at Washington. Vikings lose, Eagles win. And how about Nick Foles, how he's playing right now? A lot of people thinking he may be better than Carson Wentz. I don't think so, but right now he is playing better.
That would put the Eagles at 9-7. The Vikes would fall to 8-7-1, and there would be the Super Bowl champs getting in with guess who again? Nick Foles at quarterback.
But the thing about on the other side, Pittsburgh may not get in the playoffs. I mean, how crazy is that? And give a lot of credit to Lamar Jackson and the way he's played. If they trust him and get a few more pass plays in going for him, I mean, with his defense that he's got.
Kickoff out of bounds. Kicking team. By rule, the ball is placed at the 40-yard line. First down.
Just to tell you what needs to happen with the Steelers, so they would clinch the AFC North with a win and a Ravens loss, and they're playing against Cincinnati, and the Ravens are up against Cleveland. And to think that Pittsburgh needs help from the Cleveland Browns.
You know, you mentioned Lamar Jackson. I'll be the first to say I wasn't a believer. But to watch what this young man has done and the way they built around him, to me, has been phenomenal. Nice job, Lamar Jackson.
Keenum downfield and incomplete, trying to find Sutton.
That's when the case just needs to hit it there. He's got him open in the seam. He's trying to squeeze it in there. Maybe a little too much going over the top. The kicker hurt him there with field position because, you know, that could cost him 3 points with that field position.
See the second quarter of total yards out of the Raiders. You know, the Raiders had a lot of points in the first half of every game this season except one. Week 2 against these Broncos. And here are the Broncos scoreless with 15 seconds before the half.
2 timeouts. You can throw it in between the hash if you need to.
Keenum backing up under pressure again. That falls incomplete off the hands of Brian Parker. And he was covered by Wilbur.
You know, this Raider defense is playing inspired football tonight. We don't know if it's going to be the last game in this building, but a much maligned defense that's been last in a lot of categories. Paul Gunther says, you know what? I'm only calling about 50% of my package. I'm trying to keep it simple and allow these guys to play fast. They're playing fast tonight. And this is what you have to have when you got a young defense. Play fast, get confidence. Nice job getting these guys ready to play tonight.
There's P.J. Hall, one of the good-looking rookies up front for the Raiders. Maurice Hurst is out injured with an ankle tonight. He's been excellent as a first-year player as well. 3rd down and 10 for Keenum and the Broncos.
You got Sutton.
And there he is over the middle to the 40-yard line as they will utilize the timeout with 3 seconds remaining. You know, Brandon McManus, the kicker for Denver, has a career long of 57, and they're right on that 40-yard line right now.
Well, they were just playing this cloud defense with 3 basically safeties in the back there, and it was holes right in the middle. Good call by Musgrave to attack inside, knowing you have timeouts. It's a weird coverage by Paul Gunther to run that because they really weren't taking a shot. It wasn't when they were going in the end zone. They're just trying to get the in cut, knowing that they got the timeout.
Told you the career long for McManus at 57. This would be lined up at about 58 as he puts it down. Now, in warm-ups in pregame, and we did have a bit of a wind of 14 mph, he was hitting from 53 in this direction. So this for a career long, and to get Denver on the scoreboard. McManus from 58. And he's short. A good rotation, but just not enough drive. Had the big punt return that got the night started, and it's 17-zip Raiders who will get the ball to start the second half as we join Susie Kalber for the Genesis halftime show starting right now. Beautiful scene here on Christmas Eve in the Bay Area. Could be the final home game at the Coliseum for the Raiders, and they're playing inspired for an 11-loss team, 17-zip. Case Keenum less than 80 passing yards in the first half in now 3 of his last 4 games, just 77 passing yards. For Derek Carr, it's now 316 passes without throwing an interception.
Yeah, without a doubt, and I think he's playing well. And to me tonight, the story has been the Denver Broncos just not showing up, especially on defense. Their ability, 12 guys on the field. You had the down punt near the end zone where Harris picked it up and went and scored the touchdown. And then also on the Doug Martin touchdown, his ability to get around the corner, Denver did not have any contain there.
Take us through those touchdowns, Whit.
Yeah, well, it started with just a smart football play by Dwayne Harris. It was a free play. Yadam couldn't down it. And so Dwayne went and picked it up, knowing that there was no consequences on it. Look at him. He gets up 19 miles per hour. I'm proud of the guy. And then on the other one, man coverage. So Wallen goes back on the backside, and Roberts goes to block. The corner and safety there, Brock and Simmons, they got to run with him, and it allows him to get on the outside. Good call by John Gruden. The biggest thing I'm seeing, the Raiders just are giving more effort. They want it more right now. They're trying to finish this thing strong. It's good to see for the Oakland Raiders. On the other side, Denver Broncos have not shown up.
And that's the first thing I asked you when we came on the air tonight. I said, you get into a situation like this. Listen, we know what's going to be delivered with Colts Titans, with Vikings this weekend, with Eagles, with playoffs on the line. But the approach when you get into a situation like this, and now you're getting the answer on one side.
And that's John Elway's watching that.
Yep.
And he's evaluating. That does not look good for Vance Joseph. When your team plays this way at this time of year, when the playoffs, when you're out of the playoffs, it's going to be hard to keep your job because you're not making a strong case tonight.
This is the type of performance here that'll get you fired. If you were on the fence with John Elway at 6-8, come out, finish the last 2 games, play strong, get your job next year. This is the type of performance that will get you fired when your team just doesn't show up at a historic venue like this.
Let's check in with Lisa.
Hey, Tess, well, John Gruden told us that these last 2 games were going to be about finishing, laying the bricks for the future. He said what he liked about that first half is that all 3 phases contributed, something he said that we really haven't seen all year. He said, but we also have to prove that we can do something for 60 minutes. On the other side, I asked Vance Joseph how to get some offense against the Raiders defense that came into the week as the worst scoring defense in the league. And he said, we've had some very good plays called. We just didn't hit on them. We got to go back to those plays, get back to running the ball. Tess.
laying those bricks for the future, Lisa. Trying to end on a positive note here as Martin goes ahead. 3 first-round picks in 2019. They got the Bears picks, they got the Cowboys picks.
You know, and part of this game plan coming in was cook these tackles in the offensive line, stop Chubb and Von Miller. You see Chubb and Gostin's run a little game there, get to the quarterback. But by and large tonight, these tackles have done a pretty good job. The footing is bad, and so advantage goes to the tackles. Von Miller has been particularly quiet. His abilities are built on speed, angles, body lean, turning the corner. It's been tough tonight as this field is getting muddier by the minute.
A lot of rain this afternoon here in Oakland. There's Martin as he was met that time by Bradley Roby, his 5th year out of Ohio State. Had a weird injury last week, did Roby. Nick Chubb, Browns running back, fell in his face mask. It was a big gash. He said, I had to get stitches right away. I could put my tongue through my face, spitting up a lot of blood.
But this Denver team plays to their defense. So they're going to need Chubb and Von Miller to control the line of scrimmage. And that was only one half for those young rookies.
Yeah.
So if you watch the film I watched, you know, we'll see how they hold up here in the second half.
Yeah.
They're down in 7 now. And that was batted right at the line by Gotsis. He's been so active tonight. And a flag comes in at the 20-yard line.
That's the 3rd time we've seen the ball batted at the line of scrimmage here tonight.
Personal foul, roughing the passer. Defense, 15-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
Now watch the end of this play here. Watch how Carr's body falls down and then goes off to the left side.
I mean, he's trying to.
As you see the push from Miller.
Yeah, I mean, it looked like Carr just kind of picked his leg up and slipped and fell.
So I'm saying, watch how his body went to the side rather than the hit.
Flop going there.
That's a tough call because I don't know if anybody touched him there.
Well, he's trying to avoid it, right? I mean, he's trying to avoid the hit. He sees that Marshall's falling.
Right.
He's going to land there. So he's just trying to avoid him.
Would have loved to see a no call there. Christmas came early for John Gruden and Derek Carr.
Guess he opens his presents on Christmas Eve, huh?
Sutton! Blue Whitey! Sutton!
Look at the time he's got, and then he's going to check down to Waller, the tight end, who's getting in the mix a little more recently. Goes ahead for 2 yards. Justin Simmons with the tackle.
Well, they were trying to take a shot down the field. I mean, Waller had the jet sweep last week, so they're just trying to kind of dress it up that way and then get the shot down the field.
How many times do you see the jet sweep with the tight end, though?
Hey, I mean, this gets fast enough to do it, Book.
Normally it's the fast wide out. They're running jet sweeps with tight ends there because this kid is so fast.
Yeah, he does a good job of it, but it also says they don't have a ton of speed at receiver, I think.
I mean, they had some. I mean, they wouldn't have got rid of the guy that's in Dallas balling right now.
He's playing pretty well.
Yeah.
He's doing a pretty good job down there for the Cowboys.
Amari Cooper and the Cowboys celebrating an NFC East championship. No flag that time, as Doug Martin was the intended target with Marshall having coverage.
You know, John needed a first half like that, though. I mean, think about it. They've only won 3 games, and of those 3 games they won, one of them went to overtime. The other ones, look, they have 3 wins by a total of 8 points. So he needs one of these games because the fans, I mean, they were so excited to have John Gruden come back. Chucky's coming back to the Raiders, all that. And then, boom, now they're like, what's happening? So he better be right with these first-round picks that he has.
The fourth quarter comebacks in all 3 wins this season. Cleveland, Arizona, and Pittsburgh. Here you're up 17-zip to start the second half. 3rd and 8 with Richard as he's tripped up near midfield after 5 yards. And it's Brandon Marshall getting a piece of him.
You know, one of the things, though, that Coach Gruden said to us was, I was asking about the rebuild, and he said, you know, it's not really a rebuild. We haven't won but 1 time in 15 years.
Yeah.
We're starting over. You know, it's just a build is what we're trying to do. And now he's got a lot of draft picks. He's going to have to do it. And the most important thing now at the end of the season is he's going to have to get a general manager in here to help him as they evaluate the players.
But you're seeing the limitations to the offense. Everything is to the backs and the flats or to the tight ends. They're limited, especially without Cooper on his team.
And what is the answer for Case Keenum and this Denver offense? See if we get one when we return.
Oakland Coliseum became an enormous secret love-in called the Heidi Bowl.
Yeah, the Heidi Bowl back in '68, as perhaps this could be the final game here at the Coliseum. Of course, the Raiders set to move to Vegas in 2020. There was a lawsuit filed by the city of Oakland, and then the Raiders rescinded their offer to rent this Coliseum for 2019. So where could they land next year? Could be here, could be elsewhere. Talk of maybe heading to AT&T Park, the baseball park in San Francisco. There's even a report of heading over and playing home games in London next year. This is the 21st time that Monday Night Football has originated from the Coliseum. Here's Keenum on first down. And as he goes to Brian Parker, who gets to start at tight end tonight. He's from SUNY Albany. He played college football for the Great Danes. Grew up in Rochester, New York. Went to McQuaid Jesuit High School. That's where Jeff Van Gundy got his basketball coaching career started.
Well, it's a good play call. Getting the ball out, little quick power pass, allowing him to throw it in the flat. Now I would go with a little tempo. You need some urgency. You need 7. 7 is a must right here. Get a little bit of tempo. There's not been much to this offense other than Philip Lindsay. Play action and a little tempo. Case Keenum's at his best in that.
Well, here is Lindsay as he darts ahead and then is ridden down by Whitehead. Speaking of Van Gundy, by the way, Lakers-Warriors right next door tomorrow at 8 o'clock on ESPN and ABC.
You know, you talk about not knowing where you're going to be next year with the Raiders. What about Case Keenum on the Denver Broncos side? Yeah, I get it. You're down 17-0. It's Christmas Eve. Everybody's in the holiday spirit. Merry Christmas, ho, ho, ho. But it's time for John Elway and Vance Joseph to find what they have in Case Keenum. Put a drive together and get this offense moving.
2nd and 4. Lindsay probing, trying to get to the outside, and then is taken down by Rashawn Melvin. That was a nice play by Melvin.
Well, they're going to alert, and then he's going to end up running it to the strong side. And when he gets it, he bounces back outside. When they get on the edge, the corner's unblocked now because it becomes push-crack for the outside guy. They're coming down. The receivers are coming down in for the safety. So that ball, there's an extra defender down there. And Lindsay, as talented as he is, he's got to understand he can't just bounce everything because that guy's unaccounted for on the edge.
Getting loud here on 3rd and 2.
Like the Raiders could be bringing a little pressure. Here they come.
Got your back.
Pick it up, and then out of the backfield, picking up the first down is Booker, and gaining a little extra. We will check on the flag.
They're going to call him on the pick route.
Booker.
Pass interference. Number 14, offense, 10-yard penalty. Replay 3rd down.
Yeah, they're going to call this on these guys. Here comes Sutton. He's just picking. He's trying to get right here. They're going to run a double pick so they can get outside. When that happens, it becomes tough for them because on the perimeter, they're going to call that every time. They see him right there. He doesn't allow him to run around. You have to avoid, and if you don't, they see it's man-to-man. Whitehead could not get around it. You have to avoid. Yeah. You did your job. Make him run the hump and then just pretend like you're catching the ball. I used to always just put my hands out like they were throwing to me. Ref doesn't know in that moment.
15 years you get the tricks of the trade with. 3rd and 12. Here's pressure off the edge. Tight end picks it up. Keenum steps up. Ball is batted off of the offensive lineman. That was Billy Turner who got in the way of it.
Penalties that just really hurt them, you know, backing them up. Knowing that's man-to-man and you can't execute. And it just goes into what the good teams do. And Denver showed signs of that throughout this season. I mean, they got on a little bit of a roll there. They beat the Chargers. You're thinking, man, these guys can really go. But it's plays like that. You know, you have critical penalties and back you up. You're not going to survive being in those 3rd and longs.
Here's Harris. Had that spectacular return earlier. He tries to make the most of this and set things up for Derek Carr as the streak without an interception continues. Now at 318 straight passes without a pick.
Hey, quick question.
Against the Warriors at 8 on ESPN and ABC. Lisa is going to be getting the double dip here in the Bay Area, working this Monday Night Football game, and then she has the assignment there for Lakers, Warriors as well. And here is Jordy Nelson as he darts out. Gonna be watching some NBA tomorrow, Boog?
Yeah, I'm going to watch a little NBA test. It's like a Christmas tradition. You wake up, you put toys together, you turn on the television, you wait on Lisa Salters to come on and watch a little NBA. Develop good family, good relationships, much like that John Gruden is trying to do with Derek Carr. That much talked about relationship.
Well, that relationship had a moment where things got fixed a bit mid-season. They had a nice conversation, a little heart-to-heart.
Yeah, when Derek said that, he told him that, hey, look, I'm releasing you from this. Don't feel like you have to do everything. Don't put that pressure on yourself. Because after 5 games, he had more interceptions than he did touchdowns. Right. And I think you spend all this time with the new coach coming in that, I want to get on the same page. I want to please him in a lot of ways. That's what happens by players. And he said, don't worry about it. We're tight. We're linked together. We're going to get this thing turned around. Just go play ball. And allow yourself, trust yourself to make those plays.
3rd and 2 now. They only bring 4 against Carr. Plenty of time to choose his option. The option was Jordy Nelson, but it goes incomplete. Covered by Justin Simmons.
Here's the thing about the relationship with John Gruden. I played for him. The ability for the quarterback to communicate and get along with John is tough. He asks a lot of his quarterbacks. He's got 7,000 plays, and John Gruden's offense is about John Gruden. In the NFL, it's about the players. And that's the one adjustment that John is going to have to make from 9 years ago when I played for him until now with this new age player. You got to build it around the player.
And right there, I don't think he was happy that he didn't throw it to his back. Richard, who was on a little choice route.
Townsend on the punt away. Craycraft, awkward movement at the end there to field that 43-yard punt from Johnny Townsend, a rookie out of Florida. Raiders in control. But the Raiders put to work in the 74 AFC Divisional Playoff game against the Dolphins. Stabler to Davis through that sea of Dolphins, the sea of hands game. In the final seconds, the game-winning touchdown. One of the great moments in the history of this Coliseum. Possibly the last game that the Raiders ever play here. John Gruden says one of the ugliest, most beat-up places around, but it's where some of the greats have played. He gets emotional when he talks about leaving this stadium here. As downfield that time to Tim Patrick goes Keenum.
Nice catch by Tim Patrick.
Sure was.
But see how comfortable Case is? Now they're going to the up-tempo. It's a play action, allow him to get the play action going. Patrick using his body and then reaching him with that one hand. And now go up-tempo. That's exactly what you want to do. Get a little momentum going.
So after their 26-yard reception, their longest play of the night, he goes for more. And he overthrows Hamilton, as Eric Harris was the one who had a chance in it. This leaves safety for the Raiders.
Look, he missed on the throw, but I just like that he's taking an aggressive play action toss at it. I mean, prior to the last play, they only had one play 15 yards down the field. So the only way you're going to come back is take these shots. Do it on 1st and 2nd down when you can get the play action fake, which is where he has most of his success. Let's not forget, this Raiders defense comes in here tonight, ranked last in almost every statistical category.
Yeah.
2nd and 10. That time, Hamilton slipped. Well, let's talk about that defense a little bit.
Yeah, well, they came in. They were not very good, but they're playing well tonight. They're getting extra guy in the box. See the 8-man? Safety Carl Joseph coming down, and then the A-gap blitz. They're going to bring the safety, Joseph. Booker goes across, and then they're bringing the A-gap blitz, and they're dropping them. So they're confusing them. Good job by Paul Gunther. He's got these guys playing good football tonight.
Right now, Keenum thinks he sees something. He's checking at the line.
3rd down and 10.
Just dump it to your tight end.
Able to escape for a moment, stay alive, tuck, run, and get it, and more. Was struggling to keep his balance and somehow wiggled and slithered his way for 17 yards on 3rd and 10.
And we're going to marvel at Case Keenum slithering and withering. but he had number 89, Brian Parker, wide open. He didn't have to work so hard on that play to get the first down.
Here's Freeman, as he is met after about 2.5 yards. That was a great effort by Keenum.
They're playing cover 2 man in behind it, so they're dropping in. He could have dumped it down to his tight end, but, you know, this is what you expect when you say, what's the formula? It's play action, it's accurate throws, it's playmaking a little bit like that in a strong running game.
2nd and 7, hit hard by Joseph that time is Hamilton. Maybe right at that line to make. Looked like he got about 7.5 yards. And they will move the stick. So this is the deepest penetration tonight by the Broncos.
You've got a little quick twitch to him to avoid and then get the ball out. Stay ahead of the chains. That's the veteran presence that he does bring to this offense.
As Freeman gets the handoff for 4. So that longest rush of the season for Keenum, possibly sparking things here. A little bit of juice to this offense all of a sudden.
And when I watch him on tape, he's a different player when he does this up-tempo. You know, I think a lot of it was the success he had in college. They did a lot of it in Minnesota. He gets in rhythm. Confidence shows up when he plays like this.
2nd and 6. Here's the rookie Lindsey, the Pro Bowler. It was taken down by Melvin after 10.
And that's what a veteran quarterback does. If they're going to drop back and solve coverage, take the dump down, take the check down underneath. How many times have we seen Tom Brady manipulate the ball down the field, taking 3, 4, 6? You have to do that as a veteran quarterback. Take what they give you.
Lindsey patiently waited for the block. And it paid off as he gets to the 7. That was a good job just to wait on it.
Well, he's gonna see his tight end go back, so he's gonna allow for it to patience and then hit it. It really is a good job by him to allow his tight end to get back and lead up inside. And that's a big part of his growth as a rookie, allowing his blockers to get up on those linebackers to get the extra yards.
Raiders are showing blitz. Keenum is checking. Do the Raiders stay with it? Looks like they will. They're coming.
Here they come on 2nd and 3. Lofts it to the end zone. And just what they needed, Deshaun Hamilton.
Boy, he had man-to-man coverage in case Keenum sees it pre-snap. So when he knows that, he wants to run away from the coverage. He's going to get him on the inside. Man takes it down. And Hamilton just runs away from it inside in the slot. These are moments you can grow when your rookies come out there and it's cover 0, meaning they're going to bring all-out blitz. There's no help with the safeties taking down the corner.
After that sensational career he had at Penn State. Off to a good start here with the Broncos. And Denver's on the board here in the 3rd. Had a 17-yard run on 3rd and 10. Kept the drive alive, and then the 7-yard touchdown pass to Hamilton. And Denver able to finally break through. 17-7, Oakland on top here as we wish everybody a Merry Christmas from all of us at Monday Night Football. Joe Tessitore, Jason Witten, Booger McFarland, and Lisa Salters here in Oakland. Here's Dwayne Harris. Remember, he went for 99 yards on the punt return to open up the game. And a good burst out to the 27.
Well, the biggest thing that he had here was he had cover 0. You're going to see Case Keenum. He sees that these guys are coming up to play blitz. He checks it and says, okay, we're going to run away from it. And he's going to put his guy Hamilton on an outbreaker. There's no safety in the middle of the field. He sees that it's cover 0. The veteran quarterback, Bud, understanding that it's an all-out blitz. They're bringing one more than I have to block. He buys time and takes advantage of it on the back end.
Yeah, and he burns Paul Gunther, a defensive coordinator trying to create pressure because he doesn't have the 4-man rush to get there.
Absolutely.
Martin goes ahead to the 35. Lisa, what can you tell us about Philip Lindsay?
Yeah, Tess, well, the play before the touchdown, we saw Philip Lindsay come off the field indicating an issue with his right hand. You can see right there it gets bent back. Moments ago, he was over here on the sideline. They were working on his right wrist. specifically the top of his right wrist. They taped him up. It appears as if he's going to be going back into the game, though, when the offense is back on the field.
Okay. 2nd and 3. What an effort from Doug Martin. 9 yards with that.
Yeah, he got away from Von Miller there. We almost had a Von Miller sight there in the backfield. Couldn't get a hold of Doug Martin. And just the patience by Martin as a veteran back, finding the hole and then accelerating away from Von Miller. The Raider offensive line has done a pretty good job tonight. Much maligned offensive line, especially the 2 tackles.
Sutton! Blue Whitey! Sutton!
Coming after Carr, and a flag comes in as he throws it to the outside. Closest man to make a play on that was Brock, the corner, who's been starting for Denver. Chris Harris Jr. has been injured.
Number 85, offense, 10-yard penalty, replay, first down.
Well, that's just tough sledding there. You know, Derek Carrier is going to be on the outside. His tight end goes down. You never like that when you're one-on-one with Von Miller as a tight end, especially when you don't have help on the inside. So Derek Carr realized that and tried to escape outside. But you really, the thing you can't do with Von is give him a two-way go.
Yeah.
You have to take one side away, you know, and then force him to run the hump. He does have good flexibility and good bend around the edge, but make him earn it that way. Do not allow him to come back underneath.
Remember, the only Broncos sack tonight is from Adam Gotsis. Miller's trying to get into that short list of fastest to 100. As he checks down underneath, this is the 119th career game for Von Miller. He's sitting on 98 career sacks.
That means the offensive tackle, Brandon Parker, doing a pretty good job over there, Tess. Because we know Von Miller is one of the best pure pass rushers in the National Football League. His ability to get off and lean. Surprised he hadn't run many inside stunts tonight to kind of get away from the chips and the traffic on the outside.
34.
2nd and 10. That's Richard flanking Carr. As he goes underneath, and a lot of traffic for Jordy Nelson to deal with at midfield. Coming to the end of year number 1 for John Gruden with that reported 10-year, $100 million contract. He's 1-10 lifetime against Denver. This is Gruden's 40th game as a head coach here at the Coliseum. 39 for the Raiders, 1 for the Bucs, and possibly this is the last. Uncertain future as to where this team will play their home games next year.
Yeah.
Well, USAA and the NFL pay tribute to our armed forces through the Salute to Service. Raiders running backs coach Jamel Singleton. He's a 98 graduate of the Air Force Academy. He spent 9 seasons on the coaching staff for Air Force. Played there. One of just 6 players in Academy history to be elected a 2-time team captain. There is coach with that group with Martin and Richard, who've been handling the load since Marshawn Lynch was injured earlier this season. It's great to see Lynch out there lighting the Al Davis Memorial Torch before kickoff. Local hometown hero, went to Oakland Tech High School, of course played at Cal. 3rd down and 4.
Another dummy count. They like this bunch set here.
And Carr's got him in stride. As he's able to get it to Jordy Nelson for 13, just inside of Brock.
Well, it's really a good route by Jordy. Going to get good lean, fake outside, keep the defender on the outside, and then come back with a little bit of a slant. And, you know, a lot of that, what we're seeing is these quick throws underneath. Well, that's fine. That's kind of the John Gruden formula, high percentage plays. But then it puts you in these 3rd downs a lot. And when you're in bottom 3rd and 3rd down conversions, that's when you look at it and say, okay, I'd like to see them stay more aggressive. But tonight, they are doing a good job converting some of those. And that's what Jordy did.
180, what's that?
Here's Martin running behind Power that time. Look at the leg drive to keep going. And that's exactly what we're talking about this time of the year. What's the approach you're getting it from Doug Martin?
And that play looked familiar there. That's 96 Power King. I remember that one. You pull the backside guard, you bring the fullback in there, and you get physical coming downhill. 96 Power King is a John Gruden staple, much like Spider 2-Y banana, Joe.
Boog, it is, but from a defensive side, 6 holes on the right. That one went to the left, so 97 Power King. There you go.
Now, Todd Davis also, no matter what you call it, Todd Davis has got to do better than that in wrapping and getting down Doug Martin.
Used to love when they called Power King back in the day.
It's a beautiful play, 96, 97 Power King.
This time Martin testing the middle of that front as he goes for 3.
Boog, it's good to have you up in the booth tonight, my man. You know, 2 is company.
A little soggy down there for Boog this party, man.
Yeah, man.
Especially when you're wearing a suit like this, Whit.
Hey, sugar melts when it gets wet. That's what happened.
Rest in peace, Boog.
Well, Oakland's hoping that this lead doesn't melt. They're on the go here at the end of 3. With a 10-point lead here at the Coliseum, where they played from 66 to 81. Then they go to LA, then 95 to 2018. Of course, the glory years were with Coach Madden. 8 playoff appearances, 1 Super Bowl, 11. And then came the John Gruden era, where they made the playoffs in 2000, 2001. Gruden leaves. They lose Super Bowl 37, his Buccaneers, the year after he leaves. And you think about the grand history of this place. 18 Pro Football Hall of Famers played home games for the Raiders right here. Blitnikoff, Tim Brown, Ken Stabler, and this may be the last game played here by the Raiders.
We've got Jordy one-on-one.
As he goes to the outside on 3rd and 3, and they will move the chains with the 33-year-old Jordy Nelson.
Well, Jordy just in single high man-to-man coverage. He likes that matchup. He gets outside, and then it comes back to the football. That's what's so important. When you're going to know that you're running, okay, I'm running a 7-yard hitch route, you got to come back. You cannot wait, stand still. A lot of receivers do it. Jordy's a veteran player, playing good football right now. I mean, look, in this system, that's kind of the plays you're going to get. Big conversions.
A couple of 3rd down catches on this drive for Nelson. Martin trying to hit that seam on the left side as he goes ahead for 4.
Well, the big thing tonight was Derek Carr's passing chart. You know, where he's throwing the ball down the field. It's short. Yeah, he's 18 for 25, but you see him, all these completions are short of 10 yards. It's fewer than 10 yards. And the ones that he is stretching it down the field, those would have been his incompletion. So, look, they're moving the football, but they need to stay aggressive to kind of eliminate some of this momentum Denver was able to get on that last possession.
2nd and 6. Martin, as he's able to work behind the fullback Smith and then get to the outside. Good job by Carrier as well, sealing that.
Well, the big thing there is when they're going to seal it is it's man coverage. So when they see that when he goes in motion, Simmons has got Carrier, so he outside releases. Not only does it fake him, but he pulls Simmons and allows that ball to get back in there on the run, coming back in behind it. You see Keith Smith looking. Fullback, he didn't have anybody to block.
He's got nobody.
But when you play man coverage, it's difficult because those guys have to honor the tight ends, the receivers. So it's like, hey, we're expecting them to be the extra guy down in the box, make that tackle, but they have to honor the receiver.
1st and goal. They'll work him again. And that time he's tackled by Stewart after a gain of 3.
Well, you're seeing John Gruden turn to the run here. When they're healthy, the inside 3 of Osemele, Hudson, and Gabe Jackson is one of the better inside 3 in the National Football League. They don't have Jackson tonight, but Osemele and Hudson, big, physical, high-paid offensive linemen. John Gruden letting them come off the ball a little bit right now in the black hole.
You'll see number 69, Denzel Good, is in for Gabe Jackson, dealing with an elbow. 12th play of this drive. Richard muscling his way right in there as he went behind the rookie Brandon Parker.
Well, they just spread them out and then was able to get Richard in there behind it. Good run call, just running that draw fake, and as you said, following his lineman inside, allowing that to open up and pushing himself, knowing that that outside guy, Will Parks, is unblocked. You got to have that strength, like you mentioned, Boog, inside to be able to have that type of run.
Yeah, they do here, especially when Jackson is in there, right guard.
That black hole.
It's Christmas.
Enjoying an early Christmas present.
Ring, ding, 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 dong. Let's start it.
This year when people are saying, oh, football has changed forever. There's been some defense played in recent weeks, folks. There's been some defense, but how about the Rams yesterday? They go out, they sign C.J. Anderson. Gurley is injured. All he does is goes for 167 yards in that win against the Cardinals.
You know, the Rams were good yesterday, but my biggest concern in the games they've struggled, their offensive line has given up a lot of interior pressure. You go back to the Philadelphia Eagle game, Fletcher Cox had his way. The ability against better teams, can the offensive line hold up?
It looked pretty good, and what a game that was, man. I mean, I loved that high-flying offenses that we were able to be a part of on that Monday night, the Rams and the Chiefs.
There are people saying it was one of the most wildly entertaining regular season games ever, and it was a thrill just to be there that night. The situation with the Rams, by the way, and they play San Francisco this weekend, is they will clinch a first-round bye with a win, or if they get the Bears loss. Remember, the Bears are going up to Minnesota to play a very important game. Bears still in contention to get the bye. Vikings still, trying to secure things with the Eagles chasing them for that last spot in the NFC.
Look, the biggest thing I'll say about the NFC is I feel like it is as wide open as it's ever been. I mean, it's going to be tough to go down to New Orleans. Certainly the Rams have played really good football consistently with Sean McVay and that offense, but it seems like it's wide open when that thing's rolling.
Well, I love the idea of a Seattle at Dallas wild card weekend matchup there in the NFC. So here's Keenum on first down as he tries to extend and goes downfield, and flag is down as he was looking to connect with Sutton.
Prior to the pass, holding. Defense number 22. 5-yard penalty, automatic. First down.
Lisa, what more can you tell us about Philip Lindsay?
Hey, Tess, well, it appeared as if Philip Lindsay was going to be able to come back into this game after suffering that injury to his right wrist a little earlier. Now we are being told that Philip is out for the rest of this game. We'll be seeing a lot more of rookie Royce Freeman.
So Lindsay, the undrafted rookie who made his way to the Pro Bowl, now the injury. So the third-round pick, Freeman, will get the work here as he comes to the near side, the rookie from Oregon, who was the Week 1 starting running back. Lisa?
Yeah, Tess. Lindsay out of the game right now, but he told us what he's so proud of about what he's been able to do this season is the impact that he's had on kids, that he says he gets letters from kids every day talking about how he inspires them. He says he just wants to show kids everywhere that anything is possible. Don't let scouts or anyone else put you in a box, tell you you're too short, that you don't have this, you can't have that. He told us he gets these letters and it just fires him up, knowing that he's showing people, showing these kids that they can do anything they want and they can always prove people wrong like he has.
Yeah, he has. Kid who grew up in the suburbs and was part of the Broncos future program and now a rookie Pro Bowler. Third down and 3. Keenum steps up, goes with the drag to Hamilton, who will move the chains.
That's a big conversion there, though. Hamilton runs the drag route, and for Case Keenum just to buy a little time and see it coming to his face. He looks left, and then he knows that Hamilton's coming, and he has a matchup there, getting across where he's on the linebackers. That's what you want. Whitehead can't get there in time, and now you got to start taking some shots. There, you got him.
Then he has to go back and simply check down to Patrick. So they gave the pump one way, could have had the shot, had to go back.
Well, they were trying to fake like they had a little bubble screen, and then they were able to try to get in behind there, but for some reason he didn't throw it, so he must have saw something he didn't like. But I thought he had a hole there that he could maybe get a quick shot and create some of that momentum.
2nd and 6 now. As Booker will dart ahead out to midfield. Probably be marked about a yard short here of that line to make.
Yeah, you're down 17. Where's the urgency, though? Vance Joseph, you're fighting for your job. You're 6 and 8. You're down. Let's go. Create some urgency for your football team.
And it's single high coverage on the outside. You got Sutton's size. Take a shot at it.
They got pressure coming at Keenum, and wide open is Patrick, who is finally wrestled down by Melvin.
That was a good route by Patrick, just faking in. Everybody thinks it's going to be a quick game. It looks like he's going to run a slant. And when you're playing man-to-man, you got to be able to double move people. Quick in, and then transition out of the cut. This experience for these young players is priceless.
Little cap pressure being shown that time, and they get them to move, as you saw Marcus Gilchrist.
Number 72, offense. 5-yard penalty, remains first down.
He was sneaking up from that slot corner. Case Keenum, a journeyman who turned star with the Vikings last year and then handed the keys to the Broncos this year. 1st and 15.
They put Sutton on the inside there so that they can isolate him on the linebacker, Whitehead. You're going to see him. There's Whitehead, the linebacker. That's a good matchup for them.
Empty set here on 1st and 15. He goes to Booker, and that goes for 7 yards. Melvin with the tackle there.
I've been really impressed tonight, though, with this defense. We talk a lot about Case Keenum and this offense. They only got 7 points, so you have to give a lot of credit to Paul Gunther and this defense, keeping the ball in front of them tonight.
And missing some key parts in doing so as Sutton comes up with the catch here. You got Worley out, Conley out, the 2 corners, and then Maurice Hurst, the rookie defensive lineman, out.
Well, and I think that's the thing you have to go at, especially a lot of young guys. You're missing guys. You're in your 3rd or 4th set of corners. Guys are just making plays for you.
3rd and 1 as Booker kept his balance. Good job to get his hand down there and get extra yardage of 9 yards on that run.
Well, Booker did a good job just staying patient. He's going to run the quick dive inside. Allows his guys to get on him. And both of these guys, really all 3 of these running backs have good patience as they hit the hole.
That is P.J. Hall, who's still down on a knee. He is the rookie out of Sam Houston State. Big 300-pounder who clogs up the middle. We're going to take a look at him. Sam Houston State. This is where he comes out of as a 2nd-round pick, the highest drafted player to come out of Sam Houston State. Josh McCown was drafted out of there after his college days in the 3rd round. Night here in the Bay Area. Joe, Jason, Booger, and Lisa with you for Monday Night Football in the Coliseum. As the Raiders fans are riled up here enjoying this one. A 24-7 lead on the rival Broncos. Raiders have 173 wins in this stadium during the regular season. Could 174, if they coast in here for a victory, be the final one? Moving to Vegas in 2020, trying to figure out where they're playing next year. Keenum pressured, survives it, and now backs up all the way back to the 44, extending the play and then burning it in front of Booker as his helmet comes off as well.
Talk about backyard football at its finest here. I mean, Case Keenum, I get it. The first throw he wanted wasn't there, but it's like a rollout. It wasn't there, so now it turns into backyard ball. Let's see if we can reincarnate Brett Favre here. His offensive lineman trying to give him a block. I understand the creativity, what he's trying to do, but he's got to be able to either throw that ball away, save a little time, try to make a play for your team.
But all his receivers were running away from him.
Yeah.
When he's scrambling, don't run away. Run towards him. Get in his line of vision. I still think they got to take a shot with Sutton on these linebackers like he is.
Keenum had connected on his last 8 attempts. Now 2nd and 10, being chased by Key. A wobbler to the end zone and into the hands of Sutton. A 19-yard touchdown pass. Keenum to Sutton.
I mean, give Case Keenum credit, though. I mean, he does run around, make plays. He's had a lot of comebacks like that. When he gets in this tempo and has a little urgency, he does it. Sutton was on the linebacker the entire way. Whitehead, that's a great matchup. Keenum extends the play, showing some of that kind of grittiness that he plays with. Nice play on the run.
He was close to the line there, but as long as any part of his body is touching that line, he's fine.
And all of a sudden, the Broncos close into this thing as a challenge flag is down.
John threw that one, that challenge flag a little late.
Well, I think John is checking to see if the quarterback was across the line. All scoring plays are reviewed, so I'm not sure why he threw the challenge flag there.
That's exactly right.
And if you look at Case Keenum, yeah, he's a little across the line, but the rule is if any part of your body is still touching that line, even though some of it's over, he's still fine.
They were 3 for 3 on third downs on that drive as well. 10-point game. Time to discuss this one.
The touchdown was confirmed in the replay booth. Therefore, it is not a challengeable play. Oakland threw their challenge flag. Therefore, they will be charged with their second timeout. The extra point is successful.
Which is exactly what we said. Reviewed. It's all scoring plays are reviewed.
Well, and John's got to know that. You know, John hired Jerry Austin, who used to work here.
There he is.
He's up. There's Jerry up there. Jerry's in the booth, and he's advising John when it's time to challenge, when it's not. That's not even a challengeable situation there.
Well, all those plays are reviewed.
Yeah.
In New York, they're watching it right now. Every touchdown's that's the case. So, you know, he lost himself a timeout. So, yeah. You know, we don't know if he'll need it or not, but those are part of the adjustments that, you know, being out of the game for 9 years, I mean, that's part of the things that happen. But more than anything else, he probably just was trusting Jerry.
Yeah, well,
to make that play. And you hear about it all the time, the analytics, and those guys are in the coach's ear a lot. And he'd like to have that one back.
Yeah, you know, a lot of head coaches around the league, to your point, they have guys to help them with clock management, coaching strategy, time management, things of that nature. I'm sure John has all those people on his staff, just got a little bit of bad advice there.
Looks like they may onside kick it here.
Yep. Raiders are up in that ready position. And instead, they're going to kick away. And it is fielded back at the 15-yard line. As Dwayne Harris will get a return of 20 yards from there.
You know, sometimes people do that where I just would kick it deep in that moment. You know, kick it all the way, get a touchback, and make them earn it. You got to rely on your defense. It's been a strength of your team. There's plenty of time. You got 3 timeouts, 7:20 to go. You know, don't give them the ball on that bloop kick. And now they're in, you know, the 36-yard line.
You know, it's been a disappointing effort so far from this defense, especially the guys that we came in and we set on the pedestal, Chubb and Von Miller. I know the secondary, they're depleted with no Chris Harris Jr., but the guys up front have to create some negative plays here in the end.
Martin out of the I formation, and he's met right at the line and then goes ahead for 2 yards.
And if you're Oakland now, you need to stay aggressive.
Yeah.
I mean, your defense has played pretty well tonight, but you also know the full body of work that's happened over the course of the season. So you don't need to just hand it all 3 times and eat 2 minutes of the clock and punt it back to them. You need to stay aggressive.
Hadn't heard from Cook in a while. See if John gets the tight end. He's had a big year involved. Number 87.
Just to the top of the formation there, off the left tackle.
Wide 80. What's up?
2nd and 8. The pitch to Martin. With Cook blocking out in front. Not much there. As Martin goes over the 90-yard threshold on the night. He's got 91.
And for this Denver defense right now, this is a big down coming up. 3rd down, 24-14. You got 3 timeouts plus a 2-minute warning. Your offense has moved the football a little bit. Can you create a negative play? Defensive coordinator Joe Woods, Bradley Chubb, Von Miller. Can we get the ball back to Case Keenum to see if we can salvage something here tonight in the black hole?
Yeah, and the back can't chip both of them. So you got Von Miller here, you got Chubb up top, right? You go in there, you bring it all out, cover zero, maybe a little bit of blitz. Somebody's got to win on the edge.
3rd and 7. They're going to run the ball on 3rd and 7, and Richard is stacked up right away by Brandon Marshall.
Oh, my. I'm surprised John came out and ran it 3 times. He thought they were running pressure. Take a shot on the outside. Surprised he did that. 3 straight runs. 1 inside. They ran a toss sweep on the edge. And then comes back there with a little bit of a delayed draw.
And Denver's going to use their first timeout here prior to this punt, now letting Oakland to run time off the clock. That leaves 5:55.
Well, you see Derek Carr and John having a conversation. I think Derek checked to that play. He saw the 2 linebackers up. He saw Denver creeping, and Derek checked. So maybe that's what the conversation is about between John Gruden and Derek Carr. Hey, man, I mean, let's try to get a first down. You check to a run here.
So Townsend on to punt. Denver, by the way, is last in the NFL in punt return average. As River Craycraft waits to return.
What a great name that is.
Fair catch down there, the 10-yard line. Well, glad you're with us here on Christmas Eve, and then we will see you again on Wild Card Weekend. That kicks off the weekend of January 5th on ESPN, simulcast on ABC. Of course, the matchup and the time is going to be determined after the Week 17 games. You can watch that playoff game on the ESPN app. It'll be interesting to see how things settle in for the wild card. The AFC, they got things to decide with Indianapolis and Tennessee, and then will the Eagles get help? Will Minnesota take care of things? Could we get a Minnesota-Chicago matchup in the wild card weekend? Should be interesting. Then the Broncos make this a game here, trailing by 10 with under 6 to play. It's floated to the near side, too high and too far to the outside for Hamilton.
Well, they did a good job coming back around. Key's going to come back and underneath and force Case Keenum to feel like he has to get that ball out. You see him trying to run away from it. They're doing a good job with the rush tonight.
Loud there with your back against the black hole. 2nd and 10 for Keenum. As that ball is intercepted by Gilchrist. His 3rd of the year.
It's just a critical turnover by Case Keenum. We thought maybe there pre-snap that he was going to have a chance at man, but it was really zone. Got a little bit of pressure coming in his face. There was quarter, half behind there. That was the coverage. Gilchrist has the opportunity to see it, and he knows, and he falls off because he just passes it off. And really, there's 3 guys there.
Yeah.
Bad decision by Case Keenum. He'd like to have that one back.
That kind of night for Vance Joseph. And John Elway is going to have a lot of decisions to make in the near future, isn't he? As the Raiders will look to put this thing away. And John Gruden will think about the continued rebuild here in Oakland. They are stocked with draft picks, and they've got cap room, and they've got a roster that's seen a lot of turnover. 34 of their 53 players from week 1 are on this active roster. That's the fewest in the NFL. Many of those guys that we saw when we opened up Monday Night Football here against the Rams have walked the plank. 12 draft picks, rookie free agents from 2012 to 2017 on the active roster. That's the 3rd fewest in the NFL. So,
you know, here's the thing I'll say about John Gruden. You know, we won the Super Bowl in Tampa, and then John Gruden slowly brought a lot of his players in there. the Brookses, the Sapps, the Rice, the McFarlands, they all were gone, and his players came in. Didn't work out so well. Now he's going to try it again here in Oakland and then in Las Vegas when they move there. He's got to get the right players. It's one thing to have this system and this team be all about you, but you got to be right when you get those players.
That's a great graphic our guys put together on there. You know, the boat. There's not a lot of guys left on the boat. '97 King Power, and then he comes back with it one more time.
One more time.
Two times in a row.
It's one of his favorite plays.
This Raiders owner, Mark Davis, son of the legendary NFL Maverick Al Davis. He's got full belief in everything that John Gruden is doing to shape the future of this team. Draft picks coming up. Reggie McKenzie, a GM, was recently fired. The 5 first-rounders in 2019 and 2020. In fact, Las Vegas will be the host of that 2020 NFL draft.
You know, here's the thing I'll say. I get it. You want draft picks, you want capital. I may even agree with you getting rid of Amari Cooper. But when you have a cornerstone, a piece like Khalil Mack, that's the one piece I do not agree with this franchise getting rid of. He's a guy that you can build around. He's young. Still have no idea why they got rid of Khalil Mack.
Yeah, I mean, Khalil Mack, but Amari Cooper is showing what type of player he is in Dallas. But Mark Davis has given full confidence in John Gruden to make these decisions.
That's Smith, the fullback, as written down by Josie Jewell.
And I mean, time will tell. Time will tell. I think that's the only fair evaluation is we'll see how it plays out in 3 years. But right now, he's put an immense amount of pressure on himself.
Yes.
Right? That he has got to be right. It's not one of those situations where, oh, one of them doesn't have to work out. No, they all have to work out with those draft picks and how they add these guys to their team. And they have to get some of that youth. You know, they signed a lot of veteran players that were kind of quick fixes. Now he's got that cap space. He's got to adjust to it.
You know, one of the things he said he wanted was to get bigger and faster.
45-yard field goal by Daniel Carlson is good. And the Raiders, after the interception, push their lead.
You know, we talk about getting bigger and faster. You know, John had one draft. You draft Arden Key, he's 238 pounds. You get Maurice Hurst, you get P.J. Hall. Those aren't very big guys. So I think what he's looking for when he goes forward is big, 6'4", 300-pound guys,
right,
big receivers, fast guys that can bring some explosiveness to this team.
Well, and the other part of it is, look, he knows this is going to be a long term.
Yeah.
And that's why he got a 10-year contract. He knew he was going to take a long game approach and how he rebuilt this. And the one thing, though, is you don't realize how much key players make a difference, right? I mean, you can add up all these draft picks, but Khalil Mack is a game changer.
Yes.
I mean, he is a game changer. And you can find ways with the cap to work around it and figure that out. We're seeing it with Aaron Donald.
Yes.
And how they went about it.
Yes.
So I just think long term, he's going to get time. He has a lot of picks, and he has the cap space. We'll find out in a few years, but right now, he's put a lot of pressure on himself.
You know, and I think the biggest thing with John, having played for John and understanding kind of how he thinks, John has to become more relatable to his players. It's a different generation now. Okay, these guys are all about Facebook Live and Twitter and all these different things.
What do you mean these guys? You are too, Book.
Well, I'm a little older. And so he's got to learn to relate to the players and become a little bit more personable.
There's Booker on the return as he leaps one and then is written down at the 28. And the flag is down at the 31 after that return by Devontae Booker.
During the return, illegal block in the back. Number 40, return team, 10-yard penalty, first down.
Yeah, there's been some talk about how these fans will react, those who think this could be the final game here in Oakland. So SportsCenter with SVP will have post-game coverage of this home finale, potential home finale for the Raiders. Rachel Nichols sits down with LeBron. Of course, great day of Christmas NBA action. And worst beats of the year at a SportsCenter with our guy SVP after we finish up Monday Night Football from here in Oakland. And we will take a little Christmas break and see you for the wild card weekend.
Hey, look, even after that interception, still a two-possession game. So the defense did a good job holding him. He's got to get aggressive with his passing game.
Sprint right, throw back Booker. Booker gets free initially and then is met that time by Wilbur. No timeouts for the Broncos, trailing by 13, under 4:20 and counting to play.
You know, they ran that play a lot tonight where Keenum sprints to the right. That time he sprinted right, little throwback screen to the left.
Second and 6 comes to the outside to Hamilton, who steps out. Now stop the clock with 4:02, and they'll face a third down.
Well, what Paul Gunther's going to do, defense coordinator, he's just going to play cover 2. So he's going to drop 7 guys, right? And this is when the 4-man rush is when you need it. You're playing coverage base. You're up 2 scores. That 4-man rush has got to get there. For Case Keenum on the other side, you just have to have some urgency. Big chunks. Think about the sidelines. And then you got to take a chance with the way you approach it down the field.
Looks like the Raiders are bringing pressure here.
Third down and 4.
Keenum's got 2 backs in the backfield to match protect.
And run the crossing route. You're going to hit the drag.
Instead, he steps up, runs, and slides ahead with the first down, and a flag is down all the way back at the 17-yard line. Could be holding here.
Holding, number 66, offense, 10-yard penalty, replay third down.
We're saying Arden Key's name a lot. He got him another good rush off the edge. He's doing his best Von Miller imitation there, where he's going with the up and under on the outside, and he's really just going with that rip and bending off the edge. He's able to draw that holding penalty.
And that's inexcusable because Denver was in a 2-back backfield set. It's a match protect look. So you got 7 guys to block 4 and to get a holding penalty. That's inexcusable.
That's 10 penalties on the Broncos now. And it makes for a 3rd and 14.
Screen.
There is the screen, but hard to be secured by Booker as he falls flat. Excuse me, Freeman, the target there. And another flag is down back at the 10.
Holding, number 72, offense. That penalty's declined. Result of the play, 4th down.
You know, if I was an offensive tackle, I kind of like blocking on screen passes. When you get a holding on a screen pass, it shows you kind of where these 2 tackles are. Bowles on one side, Valvier on the other.
Chance for
on that up and under.
Raiders defense to put a nail right into the Broncos. A 4th and 14. And look at the right tackle there. And you know the black hole is going to roar over that.
False start, number 66, offense, 5-yard penalty, 4th down.
For John Elway, this is hard to watch.
Yeah.
It's hard to watch for Vance Joseph.
I was just thinking the same thing. How unprepared do the Denver Broncos look tonight?
11 penalties, delay of game on a 4th and 1, 12 men on the field, unaware on the punt return.
And now a 4th and 19. As Keenum is in his own end zone, airs it out downfield, and that is picked off as well. It's Eric Harris. So Gilchrist gets one, and Harris gets one, as Oakland looks to put an end to things here.
He just tried to use his speed, hit Sutton down the middle, a big target. Harris does a good job just adjusting on the ball. It's the right approach. Misses the throw a little bit. And obviously, you got to make a better opportunity. When it's 4th and a mile, there's not a ton of great play calls, but you're trying to get it to Sutton in that moment.
Second pick in Eric Harris's career. His first career interception came last week. That time Martin is ripped down. You know, Harris is an interesting story. Has a hard scrabble background, raised by a single mom, and overcame great adversity and had an atypical path to the NFL. With small-time college football, no NFL team that showed interest in him. He was working 11-hour days. He was in a potato chip factory, was loading boxes for UPS, and got a shot in the CFL. And here he is.
That's what you call taking advantage of an opportunity. You know, if this is the last game here in Oakland, it's a perfect send-off for these fans.
Really is, isn't it? Especially considering that it's against Denver, the 18th time that these two teams have played on Monday Night Football. As we've told you, that is the most frequent matchup in this program's history.
You know, one thing about John that I'll say is when I was watching him throughout the season, there was times we'd see that Chucky face, you know, the body language, the arms crossed. He was so frustrated. But when we went to practice this week, I was blown away at the energy that he had. He had those guys upbeat. They were in and out of the huddle. So he knows what's this going to take. He's up for this challenge and what lies ahead.
And Doug Martin. It's been effort all night long like that. Over 100 yards rushing from Martin to take us to the 2-minute warning as he just ran over Will Parks. Big smile out of Derek Carr, and he's earned it, as has that guy. College football playoff coming your way Saturday on ESPN. Should be thrilling to see what happens with Clemson, Notre Dame, and Bama, and Oklahoma. Victory formation for Oakland.
You know, Boog, the one thing you don't want to do is quit on have your football team quit on you. And that last run there, keep an eye on Roby here. The young corner, it's a run and play. Watch this effort. The ball hits inside. He just stops. He's not even, the play's still going.
Yeah.
It cannot happen. Vance Joseph, I would pull the guy out. Yeah. I would pull him out because you never quit in the NFL.
Well, that's embarrassing.
Don't put that on tape.
Exactly. That's embarrassing not only for Roby, who's a young guy who's had issues. They've been trying to replace Aqib Talib throughout the season. Roby's been inconsistent up and down. But for Vance Joseph, this performance tonight might seal the deal. An uninspired performance, a lot of mistakes, and then you have a team that hasn't given maximum effort, as you alluded to with. I think John Elway's got a lot of soul searching to do, not only about the quarterback position, but about his head coach.
And for Derek Carr, no interceptions now in his last 325 pass attempts. That goes back to week 5 against the Chargers.
You know, going back to what Denver has to do, is they had a good draft class this year, but years prior they haven't, right? Since Peyton Manning's been gone, you think about that. And, you know, we're defending about what Vance Joseph's trying to do, but Roby, he's still been around the league.
Yeah.
You know, and he's a first-round pick. I mean, you're in this program for 5 years. Vance Joseph's second year. It can't happen. There's only one way to play.
That's it. You know, John Gruden is building. John Elway's still looking. But here's one thing I know. It's Christmas Eve. Santa Claus is in the air, guys.
He is.
He's already flying. Hey, I hope you guys and everybody out there has a Merry Christmas with.
Yeah, appreciate
you and your family, bud. The Broncos are going to have back-to-back losing seasons for the first time since 1972. And that guy right there, John Gruden, just his second career win over Denver. He was 1-10 against the Broncos. That was his worst record against any opponent. They had the big punt return that got the night started, inspired defense, and Doug Martin went for 107 yards rushing. The Raiders win it 27-14. We ask you to stay tuned for the GMC postgame report on SportsCenter. For Jason Witten, Booger McFarland, and Lisa Salters, I'm Joe Tessitore saying Merry Christmas, everybody, and enjoy the